Good evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to the President's Day edition of FSU Weather. Let's see what we're getting into this week. A live look at Doak. It's a beautiful day. It's 75 degrees, mostly cloudy right now, but considerable winds that's going to keep us a little bit cooler. The radar is not actually paused. There's just no rain going on right now. What we're seeing here south of Tallahassee is just going to be some forest fires from those national forests. Tonight it is 61 degrees, partially cloudy. It's a little bit cooler, so maybe a jacket, but shed those layers for tomorrow. It's going to be 81 degrees with 13-mile-an-hour winds. That's going to keep you a little bit cooler, and the clouds that will also help do that. Today on FSU Weather, we're going to be looking at blizzard conditions this week in the U.S., which is a lot different than we're going to be seeing in Tallahassee. It's going to be spring-like temperatures. And we're also going to be going over baseball, which is starting up in this coming week. All this and more on FSU Weather.
Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Nicholas Porcelli, welcoming you to another Monday edition of FSU Weather. And I want to start the show off by recognizing meteorologist Elizabeth Lightman, who last week became the first female forecaster to issue a thunderstorm watch in the history of the Storm Prediction Center. Lightman is one of only two among 22 full-time forecasters at the Storm Prediction Center, one of only two women. In its 70-year history, the Storm Prediction Center has been mostly male-dominated, with only 5 women being forecasters at the SPC prior to Lightman. So this is a huge step for meteorology and for diversity in our field. Now I'm going to pass it on to Nico, who's going to give us a look at Tallahassee.
Yes, thank you, Nicholas. And that was definitely a big step for women in meteorology and a good thing. But tonight in Tallahassee, we're going to take a look around the area. I just walked here, and it is beautiful outside. 75 degrees under mostly cloudy skies, and we do have a bit of a breeze. But if you note the wind direction, it's out of the west-southwest, and with the winds coming kind of off the Gulf, these temperatures are going to warm up every day this week. But as you get closer to the coast, you can see St. Mark's is only at 67 degrees. Apalachicola is at 69, so your temperatures are in the 60s along the coast. As you go further north, you have a little bit drier air, a little bit more sunshine, and we're at 74 and in the mid-70s. One thing we did have today, though, is some smoke. You may have noticed that around the area. But today in Tallahassee, our high is 79. We're still way above average. We've had almost every day so far in February has been above average. Our record high, 84, 19, 18, we weren't too far off from that. Later this week, we might be setting some record highs, so that's definitely something to keep your mind on as you prepare to go out this week. And as you look at your hour-by-hour forecast this was for today, but we did have a high of about 78 degrees. We're still there. We were there just about an hour ago, so if you were outside around 4 or 5 p.m., it was nice. But as you look at your satellite and radar, we don't have much of anything on the radar. That little dot here, that was where there is a controlled burn in southwestern Leon County that did blow a little bit of smoke towards Tallahassee today. Other than that, you don't have much in the way of anything except some light clouds, and it's going to stay that way until tomorrow morning, where we may have some dense fog. So definitely be aware of that if you're going to be driving to campus tomorrow. But as you can see, nothing in the way of any precipitation as we head through the day tomorrow. It's going to be another dry day. Tonight in Tallahassee, though, we're going to stay in the 60s, 61 degrees under partly cloudy conditions. It's going to be a nice evening and a nice night. As you go out tomorrow, though, we see 80 degrees. We're going to be warmed up into the 80s tomorrow, so that's definitely something to be aware of. We're supposed to hit 82 degrees as our high tomorrow, and we're in the low 80s inland to upper 70s, closer to the mid-70s on the coast with the sea breeze. But as you look through the week, we have slightly more clouds on Wednesday lingering throughout the day, but then look at towards the end of the week, that 86 and 85 degrees could very well be record highs and no significant chances of precipitation, which isn't exactly good while we're in drought. But now I'm going to pass things off to Isabel.
Thank you. I'm going to take a step back and look at the whole entire state of Florida. We're seeing a beautiful sunset over Panama City Beach and beautiful skies in Orlando, a little bit of clouds in Tampa and Florida. Pretty standard temperatures for what we would normally see this time of the year. It's a warm, beautiful day all throughout Florida. Very, very warm in Miami, as we would expect, and a little bit cooler, only a couple degrees cooler in Tallahassee. Now we're going to look at the dew points. The difference between the temperature and the dew points is basically going to tell you how dry it is in this area. So it's pretty dry all throughout the Florida region. And again, like I said earlier, this is not a paused radar. There's just nothing going on in the state of Florida right now that we should be concerned about. To prove that to you, we're going to take a look at individual cities in Florida. Miami, beautiful as always, our neighbors to the south. It's going to be standard temperatures in the mid-80s that you would see in a Miami winter. It's going to be a little bit cooler in Tampa, as we could expect. It's a little bit closer to the shore. And the warmest of all of the cities we're going to cover today is Orlando. That's where I was this weekend. Shout out to my friends in Orlando. So it's going to be a lot warmer than we saw this weekend. It's going to be reaching 90 degrees on Thursday. That's a very, very warm winter time for Orlando. Jacksonville, it's again very warm, lower to upper 80s. As we're seeing, it's going to get a little bit warmer as we head throughout the week. And lastly, Pensacola, it's a little bit cooler. We're going to see some of that sea breeze and a little bit of cloud cover that's going to make it a little bit cooler in those areas. But again, no real chances of rain anywhere at that time. To prove that further, this is the 72-hour rainfall. So for the next 3 days, there's a little bit of a chance of rain in the northern part of Florida, but we're not going to be seeing anything potentially dangerous. So tonight's forecast. It is cloudy pretty much everywhere. It's going to be a beautiful 61 degrees. It's going to be a little bit warmer than it is down south, but in the upper 60s all throughout the Florida region. Looking at tomorrow's forecast, it is going to be beautifully warm all over. There's going to be no clouds. It is 82 degrees in Florida. We're seeing similar temperatures all throughout the area. This is a very standard temperature that we would see this time of year. In West Palm, it is 86 degrees. We're also seeing 86 degrees in Miami. It's going to be a little bit cooler in Tampa. Like I said, we're maybe going to see some sea breeze in that area. The only place that we're going to see some cloud cover is actually Jacksonville. It's going to be a little bit cloudier. That's probably going to explain a little bit cooler temperatures. But I'm going to pass it off to Priscilla to take an even further step back at the southeast region.
Yes, thank you, Isabel. So yeah, stepping into our southeast current temperatures, we can see lots of yellows throughout Alabama and Georgia, reaching red, 80 degrees in Shreveport, and again, very warm temperatures throughout South Florida, 72 in Tampa, and even 79 in Miami. So it is very, very warm outside. However, we do have some winds cooling us down. We see 13 miles per hour in New Orleans, 12 miles per hour here in Tallahassee, and just generally lots of winds throughout the southeast. We see them pushing off towards the east. And for our current radar, as we've seen throughout the show tonight, there's not too much going on, but really what that means is that there's really great conditions out right now. It's great to maybe take a walk, get outside. However, it's starting to warm up. We've got these very warm spring-like temperatures that we've been seeing. And I also wanted to point out the Weather Channel actually posted a winter temperature outlook, and the southeast was in higher than average temperature range, and that is proving to be very true. For our water vapor map, we see lots of cloud cover and higher moisture in the air throughout much of the northern parts of the southeast. We're not seeing too much of that affecting Florida, but again, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, you're seeing those effects. For our relative humidity, again, like I just pointed out, we see these green areas are proving to be more moist right here, and then these more yellower areas are less humid, but again, we see that humidity continue to develop. For our SPC storm outlook, we're seeing a non-severe risk of storms throughout the upper southeast for today, but as we move into tomorrow, that risk spreads throughout more of the southeast, stretching over to Oklahoma and Texas. And for day 3, we're going to see that risk become marginal and increase throughout a lot more of the southeast, and that is associated with lots of severe weather that we've got moving through the United States. For our next 48 hours, we're going to see lots of cloud cover develop and push throughout the entire United States, actually. As you'll see very soon, there's chances of rain throughout the whole country coming up this week for our 72-hour rainfall forecast, again, we see lots of rain cover start to develop over the next couple of days. This is hitting Thursday. We're going to see chance for up to 1.5, even 2.5 as you get more north, chances of rain. But again, Florida is going to stay mostly dry. As for tonight's forecast, we're seeing those more moderate temperatures, 61 degrees here in Tallahassee, 55 in Little Rock. But as we head into tomorrow, that's when we're going to start to see those temperatures warm up throughout the day. And again, like I said, that cloud cover is just going to increase, and we're going to start to see, as we head through the week, these warmer temperatures with cooler nights, but again, they're pretty moderate. We're seeing lots of yellow colors, so that's going to keep things very comfortable for us here in the southeast. Again, we see all that cloud cover is going to disturb things a little bit, but not too much. You know, lots of cloud cover, lots of severe weather. Spencer, what's it looking like on the national?
Thanks, Priscilla. So right now on the national, there's quite a bit going on. So right now, firstly, with temperatures, you can see gorgeous temperatures down in Miami, 79 degrees. Bit of a difference as we go out west and up north, 53 in Denver, 12 degrees up in Bismarck, North Dakota. Really frigid temperatures out there, thanks to some Arctic air. As well, right now we have predominantly dry conditions across most of the country, with the exception of here in the southeast as a result of the high pressure we have off in the Gulf of Mexico. So like what was mentioned, we do have a slight non-severe risk in much of the southeast, or in the central and northern part, maybe like Tennessee and northern Alabama and Mississippi. This is as a result of the high pressure bringing a lot of moisture over into the southeast. So here is some of that moisture I just mentioned. You can see these kind of pinkish colors down here. That's dry air, but all of this is very moist air and clouds being brought in a clockwise manner from essentially down here in Texas and then from the Gulf into the southeast. So right now, around most of the country, so the droughts, thankfully in the west, have actually improved a little bit here in California. We're not really seeing too much red, only moderately dry and some severe droughts. However, as we get more into the Ogallala aquifer in the plains area, we can see we are in intense and exceptional drought conditions. So in these areas, you really want to be conserving water and trying not to use water excessively if you can. So right now, taking a look at the national surface map, there's quite a lot going on. So here, like I said, is that high pressure, which is keeping conditions relatively nice here in the southeast, as well that moisture, which I mentioned a moment ago. As well, we have this cold front right here, which is also going to be bringing in some moisture into the southeast. Now, out west, we have a high pressure off in the Pacific Northwest and a low over here. This low is associated with Arctic air. So this is an Arctic front. So this is partly what's bringing these frigid temperatures up into the northern plains and high levels of snowfall up in areas such as Minnesota. And as well, we are going to have a lot of moisture coming in from the Pacific Ocean, which is going to come up over, essentially, if you imagine like air in like 3D, that warm air is going to come over the cold air, and all that moisture is going to condense out. So we're going to see a lot of snowfall in areas east of the Continental Divide, particularly in areas like Wyoming, Nebraska, Montana, and the Dakotas. So here is some more of that snowfall. You can see here along the Rocky Mountains, along that Continental Divide, with that high elevation, that's where we're going to see some of the highest snowfalls. Also up in the mountains in the Pacific Northwest, in the Cascadia region. And like I mentioned here, that associated Arctic front, we saw that little red line here, that's the warm front. So that is bringing nice, warm, moist air up into the northern Midwest. And then due to these Arctic temperatures, that's all going to precipitate out as snow. So looking at the Euro rainfall map, so we can see most of the country is going to be getting at least some amounts of rain, at least half an inch to a few inches. That might be rain, that might be snowfall in some cases, but total precipitation will be within the inches. And a quick little side note, about every 10 inches of snow is about 1 inch of rain. So that kind of stuff you might want to keep in mind, that conversion. And tomorrow's forecast. So we can see tomorrow we're going to have nice conditions, mostly east of the Rockies. 86, very warm in Dallas, 79 in New Orleans, and 82, quite warm for February here in Tallahassee. As well, we're going to have frigid temperatures up north, 19 in Minneapolis, 36 in Billings, and very windy and nice conditions out in California. We're going to pass things off over to Nico for a look at our local weather.
For one, would rather have warmer temperatures than these really cold temperatures that we're seeing up in the northwest of the country. So right here at a live look at Lake Bradford, it's a pretty warm 75 degrees for this time in the evening. It's mostly cloudy. It actually seems like the day has cleared up a little bit. There's not that much smoke as we saw earlier, and there is a stronger wind to thank for that, blowing the smoke away at 10 miles per hour from the west-southwest. And here we can see the current temperatures. So keep in mind it's 6 p.m. and the temperatures are on the mid to lower 70s right now, so it's pretty warm all throughout. Just a little bit cooler in St. Mark's and Apalachicola near the Gulf Coast. And here you can see the heat index. The heat index is basically a feels-like temperature that takes into account the human body and how it feels air temperature. So here you can see in Tallahassee, these temperatures are starting to climb at 75. And for most of the Big Bend region, it's going to be in the 70s. And later on in the week, these temperatures will keep climbing. And for tonight's forecast, as you can see, temperatures are not going to go below the 60s. So it's going to be really warm for tonight. Almost all throughout in the Big Bend region, it's going to be above 64 or 65. And here you can see for tonight's forecast, at 1 a.m., it's only going to be 62 degrees. I don't think that tonight the temperatures will go below the 60s. So if you do have plans for tonight, it's actually going to be really, really nice temperatures, maybe one sweater or two, and it's going to be very nice to go out. And for our day planner forecast for tomorrow, as you can see, our low at 6 a.m. is 65 degrees. So it's going to be very, very nice temperatures, which only going up to 75. It's going to be very nice spring-like temperatures this early here in February here in Tallahassee. As for tomorrow's beach forecast, actually might be a very nice day to go to the beach already in middle of February with a 7 a.m. temperature of 64 degrees, and by 11 it's going to be 73. So if you are going to the beach, it might be very nice, but keep in mind that since it is only February, the water temperature will still be pretty cool at 63 degrees. I think a rule of thumb is if the manatees don't like the water temperature, I don't think people would like it too. So that's a little bit too cold still. And for the beach, it's going to be a pretty rough, moderate risk, but temperatures are going to be very nice. And for Panama City, as you will see tomorrow, it's going to be very nice temperatures, only topping up at 78 for Thursday, and the temperatures won't drop below the 60s. So what's going on in the world of sports, Nico?
Thank you, Nico. So we're going to be talking about our sports segment right now, and we do have a lot of matchups this week, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about. First, we got our live look at the Sportsplex. You can see a really nice sunset, but a lot of this way down here in the bottom is actually remnant smoke from the controlled burns earlier today. Other than that, we've got some cirrus clouds. So it's a pretty nice evening. But first, we're going to talk about our women's golf match against Louisville, 86 degrees. I played on the golf team in high school, and these temperatures are not the type of temperatures that you want to play golf in. It gets very hot out there, and that's near record temperatures in Melbourne for this time of the year where that tournament is. So that's not too far off from 90 degrees. It's going to be a little bit nicer for our men's golf team in Watersound, Florida. This is near Panama City. It's going to be in the low 70s on Tuesday morning. This will be a much nicer temperature than that 86 in Melbourne. Our baseball team, though, we're playing at JU on Tuesday. We're going to be near 80 degrees. And during the day on Tuesday, if you're going to Jacksonville earlier, it's actually going to be closer to 85 degrees on Tuesday. So you definitely want to dress for warm weather on Tuesday. But as you look at your future radar across the state, other than a few scattered showers maybe in South Florida, you don't see much in the way of precipitation. And this goes all the way out through Wednesday. We do have a little bit more scattered showers possible on Wednesday, but this isn't going to amount to much of anything. So it's not much to worry about. But we play UNF in softball on Wednesday evening. This will be a nice game to go to because it's going to be near 70 degrees, and that's good temperature. Our women's basketball team, this will be indoors, but we're playing at Wake Forest on Thursday. Our women's basketball team is having a good season this year. So if you're going to go there, even in North Carolina, 85 degrees on Thursday, this is near record heat for the Carolinas at this time of the year. And you're going to be indoors, though, so you won't need to worry too much about it. But here's where you got your future radar. As you can see, for North Carolina, there's not much in the way of precipitation. everything stays north of you. However, heads up if you have anyone going to the upper Midwest, they're having a massive snowstorm this week, so that's definitely something to let them know about. Our softball team on Thursday plays Florida Gulf Coast at home, and we expect record highs here in Tallahassee on Thursday, 84, and I think it could honestly get hotter than that based on what I'm seeing in some of the weather models. And as you look at your planner for the week, look at what happens as you go toward the end of the week. 86 degrees on Friday. That's near record heat. So if you're going to be out and about on Friday, it might be a good idea to go, if you're going to go anywhere, it might be a good idea to go to the beach because these are extremely warm temperatures. And I've actually been looking at some of the weather models recently about the Florida Peninsula, and a lot of 90 degrees temperatures are forecast by Thursday and Friday in the Florida Peninsula. So if you have family and friends over there, it's not going to feel even like spring anymore. It's going to feel more like summer. And if we hit 90 degrees in parts of the peninsula, we could be setting all-time record highs for the month of February. And we already did that in January. So safe to say it's been a very warm 2023 so far. But now I'm going to pass things off to Priscilla.
Thank you, Nico. So yeah, taking a look at our lifestyle forecast, we've got our cameras over here, Panama City. Wow, stunning. Again, probably also related to those prescribed burns that we've been experiencing. It's bringing lots of smoke into the areas, but also making very nice sunsets. We see Sportsplex, gorgeous. St. George Island, gorgeous. Lake Bradford, all gorgeous. Tonight, for your nightlife forecast, if you're heading out tonight, it's going to be a great night, 70 degrees, mostly clear, and we've got winds from the north at 5 miles per hour. So if you're heading out, it's going to be a great night. You probably won't even need a jacket. It's really great if you want to wear an outfit that, you know, might be too complicated with like a jacket or something. So if you have a fun outfit, tonight's the night to wear it. I know it is Monday though, and I have a calc exam tomorrow, so I will not be heading out. Instead, I will be in Strozier. For our current temperatures across the region, we see those green and yellow colors indicating very moderate temperatures, very comfortable. We like to see it, we like to feel it, but that's just for right now. But as you head into the next day, that's when we're going to see those temperatures rise. However, for our dew points, we've got also pretty moderate dew points. Again, like Spencer mentioned, we have that high system over the Gulf of Mexico, bringing very comfortable temperatures and, you know, winds, making us feel very comfortable. As for our stargazing forecast, it's going to be a good night to go and stargazing. Again, not lots of clouds in the air. We didn't see anything on that radar earlier, so it's going to be a great night to head out. And again, look at that. Our sunset is at 6:30 p.m., so it's just getting later and later as the days get longer. If you're flying out tonight out of Tallahassee International Airport, good luck. You have no delays. So it's a great day to travel, especially here, but also across the rest of the U.S. However, you could see very frigid temperatures in New York and Denver, seeing 48 degrees and 53, so it could be very chilly. Make sure you bring a coat with you. Again, like I said, I will be in Strozier tonight, so I'm taking a jacket with me on my walk. 61 degrees, mostly cloudy, so it will be a good night to head out. As for your pool cast tomorrow, I know my roommate went to the pool yesterday. It was great temperatures. It'll be a great day to head to the pool. 3 p.m., 80 degrees, very nice temperatures. Hopefully the water will not be as cold. As for tomorrow's forecast, 81 degrees again, but we will have some breezes. So, you know, again, make sure you wear those layers. It's going to be, you're going to need to take them off at some point to make sure you stay comfortable. Again, our Euro forecast, we're seeing a little bit of precipitation around the north parts of Florida, but, you know, taking a look at our weekday planner, we're seeing, again, high 80s, and 70s throughout this week with our lows in the mid 60s. But Spencer, what's it looking like locally?
Thanks, Priscilla. So right now, locally, we can see we have an absolutely gorgeous sunset. Now, some of these red colors can be attributed to some of the smoke that we have from the prescribed burns that we've had going on today. So right now in our area, gorgeous temperatures, looking at 70 degrees down in Sumatra, 74 here in Tallahassee, and 72 out in Valdosta. So here you can see the wind speed and direction. So this is why we had the whole this is why Tallahassee in particular today has smelled so much like smoke. It's because we've had some fires going on in Liberty County, and all of the smoke has been brought through these winds directly into Tallahassee. So this is going to explain why it's been so smoky today. As well, here you can see some ground clutter. This is not precipitation, this is some smoke which the radar beam is detecting. You can see some fires that were going on here in northern Franklin counties, either western Leon or eastern Liberty counties, and looks like another burn here in Jefferson County. So these areas in the upwind of these fires, just be aware, maybe wear a mask if you're sensitive to aerosols in the air. It can be a little difficult on your lungs if your lungs are very sensitive. And as well, our future radar, so you can see not much going on, a little bit cloudy as we go overnight into tomorrow, and as well we could see some patchy fog in the morning, possibly dense in some areas, and as well, as a result of this high pressure, we are going to see some winds kind of staying in the same general direction. They're going to be coming in out of the southwest through Tallahassee and Leon County, going out toward the Atlantic. And for tonight in Tallahassee, it's going to be a gorgeous evening. I know we have some pretty warm temperatures, actually almost record-breaking high temperatures this week, but tonight it's going to be nice and mild, 61 degrees, partly cloudy, and a wind out of the south-southwest at 5 miles an hour. And tonight for Tallahassee, and for the general Tallahassee area, we can see 64 degrees out in Monticello, 64 degrees as well in St. Mark's, 64 in Quincy as well, so really 60s, mid-60s all over the place, with the low looking like 63 out in Valdosta. And if you are planning on walking a dog tomorrow, 7 a.m. going to be about 65 degrees, 9 a.m. about 67, and 11 a.m. going to be around 72 degrees, just partly cloudy throughout most of the day. And a quick hour by hour, we can see temperatures in the low 40s and the upper 40s and low 50s, climbing up into the mid to upper 70s throughout the day. And we're going to pass things off to Isabel with a closing look for our show.
Thank you for tuning in this President's Day to FSU Weather. Unfortunately, we still had school. Fortunately, FSU Weather is up and running. We had a crazy show today. We have very warm temperatures coming up in the Florida area. I am so glad that I am not up north, because it looks like the whole north is going to be either covered in strong rain or snow, heavy winds, things like that. So in the next couple of days, get on out to the beach. It's going to be beautiful here in Florida. We also had an amazing moment in history this week with the first ever storm storm forecast that was sent out by the Storm Prediction Center by a woman, and we had just a great show. Get on outside. It's going to be beautiful weather. Follow us on Instagram. Go like us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather. Like us on Facebook at FSU Weather. We also have a TikTok now and a YouTube at FSU Weather. Hopefully that's how you're watching us today. Go give us a thumbs up. And Instagram again at FSU Weather. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you have a warm rest of your week and enjoy it.